Hope Was Here by Joan Bauer. Chapter 5. Back at the welcome stairways, we were deep in the weeds. That's dinner language for way too busy. Memorial Day always brings the hungry hordes, but after GT's announcement, people were pushing into the place like we were giving away free food. Addie was trying to handle herself in an unfamiliar kitchen. People were shouting questions at GT, who was standing under one of the big antique ceiling fans, trying to answer. Llewellyn tripped over a man's leg and let a nacho plate with meat, beans, and guacamole go sailing. It looked like the best any of us could hope for was survival. Flo throws me a white apron. Llewellyn plunks an order pad in my hand. We'll see what you're made of. Take the counter. Even when you're not in school, life is a test. 12 hungry people at the counter. First, my effervescent smile. I am your friend, not your foe. Second, go for pity. This is my first day, and I don't know where anything is, but I promise you I'll find it. How many would like coffee? 7 hands go up, and I get coffee, racing past Llewellyn, who is staring at me. I carry 6 coffee cups with saucers in my left hand, piled on 2 by 2, without spilling a drop. Take the 7th cup in my right hand and deliver the goods. People are shouting orders at me so fast I can't think. I run to the galley window to call them in. Addie's snarling in the kitchen, opening refrigerator doors, saying she can't saute a chicken breast if she can't find one. Now can she? Braverman's watching the grill, flipping burgers, calmly telling her where things are. Ordering pork chop specials on 3, I say. Braverman nods, raises a thick eyebrow. Addie slams a pan. I deliver a taco salad and a burger to the table near the front door like it gives me sheer delight to do it. Sheriff L. Grebe storms into the diner. You're over the safety limit for the number of persons that can be in this establishment. He motions to the line waiting near the register. Move it outside, people, or I'll have to shut this place down. He leads the disgruntled out the door. A man shouts from across the room. GT, how are you going to handle the stress of campaigning and being mayor if you're fighting for your life? GT leans against the dessert case across from the register. Because I'm more interested in living than in dying, and I want to bring as much healthy change into this town as I can before I go. I'm a short-order cook, Morgan. I always do more than one thing at a time. Everyone starts laughing. I'm pouring coffee. The secret when you're in the weeds is to keep the coffee coming. Flo is racing from the kitchen with her arm full of burger specials and not dropping one French fry. I'm taking orders, getting food, squeezing past people, experiencing the fierceness of food service. I look out the window. The line to get in the diner is curling around the block. Yuri rolls his eyes. Lines in Russia. He rushes to a booth with water and setups. Take booth 8. Llewellyn snaps at me like I was born knowing where it is. She points to the 6th top by the register. A 6th top is a table that seats 6 people. I'm there. Mercifully, they order fast. I pour more coffee for the people in the corner booth in Llewellyn's station. She stalks me into the kitchen. That's my table. I was trying to help. I take care of my tables. Then why were they out of coffee? A woman perched at the counter wearing a straw hat and a big flowered dress shouts, Aren't there laws in this country that say people running for elected office have to be healthy? GT smiles. Cecilia, our town charter says anyone can run for mayor who's a resident, 30 years of age and up, and a U.S. citizen. She writes that down on a notepad and nods at me. Cecilia Culpepper, editor of the Mulhoney Messenger. Hope Yancey. Nice name, kid. I'm running everywhere, juggling 35 things in my head, fully focused, heart pounding. I wish I knew the menu better, but you've got to start somewhere, and it might as well be hard and fast. A kid throws his spoon at his baby sister. I'm there to catch it before disaster. I hand it to his mother, who looks at me gratefully. Full-service waitressing. We feed, protect, and defend. Flo rushes past me, laughing. You're getting into it. I grin. Oh, yeah. Braverman shouts, Burger specials on 4 up and ready. That's me. I rush to the galley window, layer the plates on my left arm. A woman says, GT, you have no political experience. Why should we vote for you? GT says he'd been on the school board. He helped get the emergency health center built. He's lived in this town for 25 years. How long have you known about the dairy's unpaid taxes? A man shouts. Just before Christmas last year, GT explains. I tried to see Eli about it 3 times, but he wouldn't meet with me. I decided the only thing left to do was make a public statement, but leukemia hit. It was all I could focus on for a time. I apologize to all of you for being selfish. Everyone starts talking at once. A hand on my shoulder. It's Flo. She's introducing me to her friend Brenda Babcock, sheriff's deputy. Deputy Babcock is close to the most beautiful African-American woman I've ever seen. Her cheekbones were to die for. Brenda just got transferred here last month from Minneapolis. She's the toughest law enforcement officer on God's earth. I crush bad guys under my heel. Brenda Babcock grins and shakes my hand. Seems we've come to town at an interesting time, Hope. I smile back at her. I guess so. I look at the line outside, waiting to get into the diner. Sheriff L. Greaves is glaring at people like a prison guard. GT, an old woman shouts, how sick are you? I've had 1 round of chemotherapy, Emma. I'm hoping it will put me into remission. What if it doesn't? Someone yells. Then I'll do it again. Man. I push my bangs back, face the counter. A big guy with a long face slides onto a stool. Doesn't look left or right. Grabs the menu. He's there to eat and get out. I go up to him, smile glowing. How are things with you, sir? Fine. He says it flat. Coffee, black, BLT. Now my heart tells me this guy needs more in life, so I take a shot. You ever had a cheddar burger with grilled onions and mushrooms on pumpernickel, sir? That takes a minute to sink in. Then he slaps the counter, grinning. Bring it on. I sense he needs more. You want a malt with that, by any chance? He did, of course. Chocolate, he says, beaming like a kid. Now he's loosening up. It's a privilege to touch humanity in such a fashion. I race to the kitchen window, call the order in. GT is holding up a wad of paper. My petition's right here if anyone wants to sign it. The election board says I need 200 registered voters to get on the ballot officially. Not many people come forward. An old man with a wrinkled face scans the petition. I don't know, GT. I get a lot of business at my store from the dairy. I think signing this might hurt me. It might have that, GT acknowledges. I've got to think about it too, says a woman. My husband and son work at the dairy. Sheriff Greaves is in the doorway. The woman sees him. And they love their jobs, she says nervously. They really do. I'll sign that thing. The black man I'd seen driving the church van when we first came into town strides forward, bringing bolts of energy with him. He has a fat mustache peppered with gray. Flo is standing behind me. That's Pastor Al B., Hall of my church. They're real good friends. I sure appreciate it, Al, GT says. Pastor Hall takes the petition. He pushes back his hat and looks at GT. You got any more surprises for today? Maybe, GT grins. Pastor Hall signs the petition, slaps it in GT's hands, takes him by the elbow, and yanks him toward the counter where I'm pouring coffee. You could have mentioned this to me, Pastor Hall whispers. Good Lord, man. I figured you'd try to talk me out of it. You've got that right. You're always going off like a fool, not telling people what you're doing. You gonna vote for me, Al? I'm going to pray for you. Afternoon, Pastor, says Flo sweetly, indicating with her eyes that the whole diner is trying to listen in. The two men face the crowd, thump each other on the back, and smile. And now several people with GOG t-shirts come up to sign. That brings a few more people. Flo stands in line. I wish I was old enough to sign that petition. When you can carry 5 full dinner platters on your left arm, you should be able to vote, even if you're not 18. It had been an exhausting Memorial Day. I'd gone through 2 order books and gotten all the food hot to the customers, except for the broiled chicken breast Mexicana that I had to send back to Braverman because he'd put cheddar cheese on top, even though I said hold the cheese. Being a grill man, he wasn't about to admit he was wrong. You can't argue in these instances. It wastes time. Speed and delivery are what makes a good waitress, and you learn to compromise along the way to get that food delivered and your customers taken care of. I apologized to Braverman for the mistake. He nearly fell over. My mother taught me to do that on my 13th birthday, the last time I saw her. She said there are 3 hard and fast rules that every professional waitress has to follow. Number 1, the customer is always right. Number 2, the cook is always right. Number 3, if the customer and the cook disagree and you can't settle it, your tip is history. I have those rules in my Best of Mom book that Addie made me keep from the time I was little. Addie said even though my mother hardly came around, she was still an important part of my life, and it was up to me to save and remember the things she passed on. On cheap tippers, don't take it personally, they were deprived somehow as children. On low-fat entrees, they sell well enough, but nobody's too happy after the meal. On regular customers, talk to them, remember what they say, and ask them about it tomorrow. On men, they tip better when they're not with their girlfriends. On children in restaurants, play up to them, their parents love it. I've kept all the Christmas letters she sends too. I guess I appreciate the contact, but it's weird having a pen parent. I didn't get the Christmas letter once and got worried. It came on Groundhog Day. Mom had met the man of her dreams in Las Vegas, a blackjack dealer named Roberto. She was in such bliss, she got nothing done until she realized what a slime ball he was and told him to take a hike. She wrote fa la 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 at the bottom, which is how Mom sees a lot of life. The last time I saw her, she looked so uncomfortable, I thought she was going to jump out the window. She told me I looked good, but didn't make eye contact. She told me it's okay I changed my name and kept calling me Tulip. She told me she loved me and never came back. Staring down hard truth takes guts. Once, Addie told me that unless a genuine miracle happened, it was a safe bet that Mom wasn't going to change. I know it's hard to handle, Addie started, but if I lie to you now, it's only going to make things worse later on. It doesn't mean Dina doesn't love you. It means she doesn't have the tools she needs to be the kind of mother you want her to be. She didn't lose them somewhere along the way, honey. She never had them to begin with. The well was dry. That's what I concluded. I wrote a poem about it, free verse. I can't rhyme for anything. I had expected the well to be full for some reason. Not that it had ever been before. I kept looking for signs of water in the dark insides. I heard my bucket clank as it hit, against the wall that held nothing. I looked at the bucket that came up empty, and made a decision that changed my life. I will keep my bucket and find another well. Harrison said I should submit it to the poetry journal at school, but I never did. He said I should give it to my English teacher for extra credit, but this wasn't something I wanted published or graded. Harrison wrote a 2-page poem about his deep feelings of loss when his dog Filbert died, and Mrs. Minerva, the creative writing teacher, gave him a B-. Do you know what that does to a person to get a B- in grief? I was filling salt shakers and napkin holders, wondering if G.T. Stoop was going to kill himself with his companion. Wondering if there were any interesting teenagers in such a dinky dairy town. Braverman walked out from the kitchen holding a stack of papers with lines on them. We need to help GT get this petition signed. There's a bunch of us going out tomorrow to start. A creaking door of friendship was opening. I knew zip about politics, but admitting that would not have been shrewd. I want to help. Is it okay I can't vote yet? He looked at me like cooks do when the server before them has done something stupid. I guess that meant it was okay. What if someone asked me a question? Braverman leaned against the counter. Tell them that J.T. Stoop has the courage to face anything in this world and come out ahead, and that's what this town needs. I could tell by his face that he meant what he said. I guess you know him pretty well. When my mom was out of work, G.T. gave me a job waiting tables. Then he taught me to cook. Wow. Braverman was zeroing in on a ketchup bottle. A long, weird silence. So, Braverman, do you, go to the high school? I graduated last year. You go to college around here? I can't go to college right now. Dumb hope. He shuffled the petitions. You know how to lock up? I've got the key. Flo showed me. The back door sticks. Okay. He walked out the door before I could apologize. My life so far in Wisconsin. Worked all day, irritated the cook. Good night, Braverman, I said to the closed front door. I walked in the back to lock up, put the key in the lock, jiggled it like Flo showed me, jiggled it again. Again. It wouldn't lock. I tried for 10 minutes every which way. I felt like I used to when I was little and we just moved. I'd be standing in some new hall holding my new apartment key and not be able to open my new front door. Come on! I jiggled the stupid thing. I hit the door hard like I used to, felt the sting in my hand. I felt like crying. I didn't want to be here. A light went on behind me. I stiffened. I have trouble with that back door, too. It was GT. He walked right up to me, took the key. I am one sorry mess with keys. On my wedding day, I locked my keys in my truck along with my rented tuxedo. Had to kick in the window of that pickup just to get married. He hit the door, jiggled the key a few times. Finally, the lock clicked shut. He looked at me, smiling. Best not mention that on the campaign trail. Cancer and key dysfunction might be more than the voters can handle. I laughed. Go on upstairs and get some sleep now. Thanks. I headed for the door. You're a fine waitress, Hope. You know how to connect with the people. I looked back at him, grinning. There wasn't a better thing that a boss could have said.